Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 of Barbells, Burgers, and Bitchin', our new podcast that, if you listen to the last episode, will have heard what it's all about, who we are, what we're going to be talking about. And I think we both probably just want to start off this next episode by thanking everybody for the support.
Yeah, thank you all.
It's been very, very positive, very
Yeah.
supportive, and lots of you have given us some really good ideas of things we can talk about to help you on your journeys, basically, which is what this episode is going to be all about. Because if you haven't guessed already by the title, this is where we're going to be discussing how to get started with the gym and your nutrition. So basically, how to kickstart your health and fitness journey. But obviously, giving you our perspective, we're going to be talking about things like what we recommend, mistakes we've made that we don't recommend, obviously what we would maybe tell our past selves differently, knowing what we know now, and also covering a lot of misconceptions and mistakes that we see people make every single day in our jobs. I also want to say, before we get into it, we have 2 microphones for this podcast to obviously make the audio quality better, but we don't actually know how to connect them, and we've just spent the last 2 hours trying to figure that out. So if anyone is technically advanced with that kind of stuff and knows how to do that, that would be really helpful. Thank you very much, kindly. Anyway, Alex has a poll to discuss. 2 polls to discuss, so I will throw that over to him.
So we thought it'd be kind of like a fun idea to kind of, before we film the podcast episodes, to put some polls up, training and nutrition related. So it kind of gives us a little bit of something to talk about in the intro, a little 5-10 minutes of that. So the first one we did, which was a training related question, was I basically just asked you guys which out of the 3 lifts was your favourite: squat, bench, and deadlift. And no surprise, bench reigned supreme. Half of you said bench, and then it was split evenly, 25% each for the squat and deadlift.
Which was your favourite?
Bench, I said, champion. It's the best. Well, it's the only one I can do. It's the only one I can actually do in competition. And then Hannah shames me a lot for it because she's like, you're not actually a powerlifter if you can't do 3.
That's actually never come out of my mouth. I've never said that. I just
lies.
said, no, that's not a lie. You can be a full power lifter. You just refuse to do full power until you can absolutely send it on squat, bench,
what's
and
the state
deadlift.
of my training for lower body at the minute?
Alex has got a dodgy back that he's been rehabbing for about 5 or 6 years. Only now is he really starting to make some progress with it. However, it is still holding him back on his squat and deadlift because he's not able to do that pain-free. Yes, but I'm saying...
I'm not squatting deadlifting at all at the minute.
Yeah, so hence why he's a bench-only bitch.
It's only rehab shit at the minute.
Which is fine. You know, at least he's still doing something. But he seems to occasionally get in his head that that is going to be his forever, fate. And I just keep telling him to get over himself and that squat and deadlift. If he wants to be a real powerlifter, he's going to have to commit to the journey.
It's not that. That's bullshit. I've just made peace with the fact that if that is what it is...
No! And I'm telling you not to settle.
I'm not settling. All I'm saying is,
right, okay, well, cool.
I'm more than happy if that's my life and that's all I can compete doing. I'm more than happy with that. But it is the best. I mean,
why are you happy with that?
Because I can still compete. It's not like if I couldn't do it at all, then I'd be like,
Yeah, but you're happy with that when it's something you can fix.
I'm in the process of fixing it.
Yeah, exactly. So don't be settling that.
I just don't want to get my hopes up.
Well, by doing that, I feel like naturally you're going to subconsciously hold yourself back.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Because you're going to be like, it's okay, I'm in my comfortable zone now, I'm going to stay here.
Not comfortable at all. I've been full sending my accessory stuff. I've been progressing that all the time.
Okay, well, stay tuned, guys. We'll see if he actually becomes a proper powerlifter in the months to
come. Out of the 3 lifts before... I absolutely, mangled myself, deadlift was my best out of the 3, by far. And then in this time, from basically having to be a bench-only bitch, I've made that.
The interesting thing, actually, with all of this... Sorry, we're going on a bit of a tangent now, but this is... interesting because Alex's mediocre squat and deadlift isn't even bad. It's just not 100% of what he knows he can do.
Well, the all-time, my best PR, that gym, obviously not platform one, I did while I was injured.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel the heaviest lift I've done on deadlift, like my all-time PR in the gym, was in that period of time where I was still injured. I still wasn't 100%.
What was that?
272.5.
That was after the injury.
Yeah, but it was still I wasn't pain-free. I was still in some degree of pain.
Well, yeah, but it was after the injury. You've never been pain-free since the injury.
I was being on and off. I'd have periods where it's okay and then I'd re-aggravate it again. But yeah, I haven't. Recently, it's been like a constant.
Anyway, swiftly moving on. Bench reigns superior. I also
Yeah, let's say,
voted bench.
don't shame me. It's your favourite one as well.
It is my favourite one,
Right,
but
okay
I
then,
will do
so-
squat and deadlift.
I still do squat and deadlift.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Good.
just saying. That was a
Oh.
different conversation. That was just me saying that you needed to get out your head and
I'm
not
out of my head. I
accept.
full send everything that one. Okay, that's context.
No,
I don't
no,
full
don't
send
be
everything.
telling information like that on a podcast and full of beginners.
No, I put 100% effort into everything
Yeah,
I
okay,
do.
relative to what
that's
you need to
different from
give.
full sending. Don't. Full
Okay,
send.
we're really going on a tangent
Right,
here.
okay, yeah.
Anyway, bench
So
is
bench is the best one. It
goat.
wins. Cool. Now, next one we did was a nutrition one where I basically said, out of the two, pizza or
course it's right.
burgers. Okay, pizza or burgers. Which one is your favourite? And burgers won 56% to 44%.
This split our vote. What did you vote for?
Burgers. Do you want to give? Well, we voted, and you.
I voted pizza.
But our thought process was exactly the same as to why we voted for each one. And
Why did you vote burger?
so, out of the two, pizza is definitely more consistent. So, but a good burger beats a good pizza every single day. So I was going purely on, if both were to a good standard, the burger takes it for me. But if I was going to go out and eat, I'd probably go for a pizza the majority of the time because you can't really fuck up a pizza.
Famous last words, but yeah, no, I agree. It's yeah, as I said, I agree with that. Hard to mess up a pizza. I've had enough shitty burgers for that to be.
Yeah.
But again, agree. If you get a really good, like, juicy burger, they've nailed all the components, and that will always beat a really good pizza. What's your favourite pizza?
Everyone knows what this. The people they know what it. And you just another thing to fucking shame me with. Pepperoni. I'm a basic bitch.
It's more funny because Alex has this ritual that every Friday night he insists on having to have the same basic pepperoni pizza.
I wonder why that is.
Would you ever venture out? Like, try a different topping? Nothing wrong with pepperoni, might I add. I'm just saying it's...
I don't mind like a meat feast one, but there's just
What do you do, pick off the rest of the meat?
there's just a lot going on, isn't there?
What, with the meat feast?
Yeah, and I get chicken fear, so I take the chicken off.
Oh, yeah, Alex won't eat chicken.
This is just
Yeah,
highlighting all the
okay.
shit that I've Yeah.
I think pepperoni can be god tier if you put, like, chili honey on it or something like that.
Yeah, like
But
a bougie.
have you ever had that?
What, chili honey?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You can have it at Rudy's. We'll
Yeah,
go this weekend.
there
We're
you
going
go.
tomorrow, actually. If
And
they
why-
still
and
do
why
it.
is that?
For my first ethics competition.
Yeah.
Shh, we're not talking about that, though.
Give
That's
us
not
some
what
hype.
today's about.
Next podcast, we can do a recap of your comp.
It's probably going to be regretting all my life choices and wondering why I ever paid money to go and do burpees. But anyway,
You chose to
let's
do
not digress. And are we agreeing with the... Oh, did you say the overall outcome of that poll?
it. Yeah, burgers won 56%.
56%. So it was a pretty
44%.
close split. But yeah, I still think I agree with the outcome, though, even though I voted pizza.
A decent smash burger
context
with
is
all of the
needed.
stuff on it, done well, beats a good pizza any day.
Yeah, okay.
You can fight me. I'll fight you.
We'll think of what the next poll's going to be. We'll put that on the stories on the Instagram, sort of maybe midweek. Stay tuned. Make sure you vote. And I think this will really be a good telltale of who's following us and if we've got any cretins we need to filter out. We can't really block anyone, can we?
No.
They'd have to block.
We're inclusive here.
Yeah, unless you've got your opinions wrong.
Yeah, if you're wrong, go away. Don't want to hear it.
Okay, no. Moving on. So we've got a few questions we're going to ask each other on getting started and where we began, what mistakes we made or what we do differently, etc. So I'm going to start off by asking Alex the questions.
Oh, okay.
You're in the hot seat today.
Sound.
I'm going to take the mic whilst I ask it and then I'll pass it to you so the audio stays relatively good quality. So first things first,
Yeah.
what even got you started with your... I'm just going to say health and fitness journey, training journey. I know you take
Yeah.
gym a lot more seriously than the nutrition side, so...
I'm working on it with your help.
No, I know, I'm
We're-
just
we're-
saying,
we're making
but like...
moves. We're
yeah.
making moves. Yeah,
Go on.
don't say training and nutrition. We'll just focus on training.
No, you can talk about both. Go for it.
My nutrition will not be the. It won't be the one until like very recently.
You've still learned... anyway, what got you
Yeah.
started?
So basically, way back when I was a wee little whippersnapper, I started. What?
What this stuff?
Whippersnapper, yeah. A young'un. Yeah, I got into any kind of sport really through swimming. So swimming was my sport when I was younger. I swam for a club, swam competitively. That's what I like doing. up until a
What's your
certain point.
stroke?
That's very personal. Um, so I was a sprinter. I couldn't do anything distance because I would die. So like 50s was okay, 100 at a push, and that was front crawl and butterfly were my two that I was good at. Breaststroke was man. Backstroke I didn't like it because I couldn't see where the wall was when I was doing the turns. So that was used to freak me out. It was
You're
just
supposed to use the ceiling, aren't you, as the
the flags.
reference?
You use the flags
Yeah.
as you go on your back, but it would always like I'd go like fast, 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 and then I'd panic because in training you have to do you count your strokes on the flag to do your
Okay.
tumble turn. But then obviously when you've got adrenaline going and you're in a race, that tends to be quicker. So sometimes when I did the odd like meet or whatever when I was doing backstroke, I always used to fuck it up because I'd either go too close or too far away because
Knock yourself
there was
unconscious.
I have kneed myself in the face so many times doing tumble turns. That's an unlike yeah.
Nose
So
bleeding everywhere. Get out the
not
pool.
just like
Alex
just
has fucked up his tumbles again.
fat lip. I'd come out the tip with oh fuck, that really hurt. Anyway, I got off on a tangent again. Yeah, so swimming was my main thing. Way back when I was scrawny. I was really scrawny. So like a lot of team sports, like I really liked playing rugby, but I wasn't really like big enough to be good at it. Again, I would just get the ball and run. But if it came to like being physical, wasn't that good. Um, so doing something like swimming was like it's just me rather than being on a team or having to do anything, you know, like smash people because I'd usually just get snapped in half because I was a twiglet. And then I started doing the weight training to help supplement the swimming because I was kind of like, oh, well, if I'm a sprinter, you know, being a bit bigger and bulking up a bit is going to help with that. And then eventually what happened was I started to absolutely hate swimming. I used to hate going to training. I'd argue with the coaches all the time to the point where after like 30 minutes I'd get out because I'd just argue with them. And then the gym and the weight training really took over. Uh, Early days it was very kind of do you call it superficial? What do you call it? Vain. You know,
Yeah.
teenage boy that wanted big arms to look good for women, and
Classic.
that was the main classic. That was the main motivation. Uh, I think every young man's motivation would be for getting into weights at that age.
That's very stereotypical.
I'm just saying, people. But the actual thing with the funny thing with that is, you as dudes, you go to train to try and look good for men, and all you do is end up attracting more men who are like, yeah, bro, you look good, and women don't really give a fuck.
That's okay. Guys can look good for guys too.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying was that's not the way I'm in. That's not my angle. um, So yeah, and it was doing that, and it was mainly initially because I didn't really know what strength training was or anything like that. It was mainly just more like the hypertrophy muscle building side because it was just getting bigger. And my dad used to was into his weight training and stuff, and we had some stuff in the garage. So it was like a basic barbell, some dumbbells. So it was a lot of that and bodyweight stuff really. And he kind of gave me a bit of like advice on what to do. So it wasn't really anything too structured or serious. It was kind of, I remember one workout I did for legs, which was squatting, and I literally went from the bar. I must have gone like in 10 kilo jumps, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, all the way, and then came back down again. And then,
Good God.
it
For how
complete,
many reps?
I think maybe 10 to 12, and then I'll just go up and maybe the 100 I did for like a one or two. Because again, this was when I was like young.
Jesus.
Oh, I went into I went upstairs. I was like, I need to go and shower now. And I went upstairs and I had to lie on my bed in the fetal position for like 20 minutes because I felt so sick and I had a headache. I was like, if I move, I'm gonna throw up and die. Um, so yeah, I did a lot of stupid shit because I didn't know what I was doing. Um, yeah, that was a very long-winded way to say how I got into it.
Okay, so from that, I feel like we've already covered a few, but what
I can go into,
mistakes
yeah,
did you make
I'll go into
early
I'll
on?
go into more detail on that.
What people shouldn't do from that lesson? Like, you tell them.
Right, so but even with that, I'll go into more on that, but I've got my own opinion on that stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
What mistakes? So the main thing was that I didn't really know what I was doing. It was just kind of guessing or kind of following the advice of what your favorite, person. Who was it around the time when I was
I don't know,
YouTube?
you're a little bit older.
Oh, a bit older. Yeah, trying to think of the YouTube people. But you go on, you Google it, and you're going on whatever. I can't even think of some of the forum stuff. Because before, like Elite, I went on Elite FTS and all that kind of those sites that actually had some decent information. But yeah, it was just trying to, go on these forums that didn't really give any context and just kind of get whatever information I could. So I think definitely the mistakes I made early on was kind of like following no structure, really, which is okay at the beginning because you should make it fun and enjoyable, especially for like a teenager. You want to do something you're actually going to stick to. But it was definitely not having a structure. I suppose that could go into not having a coach because they can obviously help direct you. Um, yeah, I'd say that was the main one.
Okay.
It was the lack of clarity.
Okay, so what would you tell your past self now if you wanted to make the progress that you've made in a more efficient time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be like, "Yeah, all of these mistakes were valuable because
Oh,
I've now learnt my lesson."
yes.
Obviously, yeah, we know that. Like, it's important to fail. It's important to make mistakes. It's important to, have these learning curves and whatnot. But say that was taken out of the equation.
I do want to touch on a bit of that, but I will go on to the
Okay,
thing you
elaborate.
No, no, no. I'll do the answer your thing first, and then I'll go on to that. So, what would I tell my past self now? Is definitely get a coach. I think doing stuff on your own, even if you've read books and you're educating yourself, you will always have blind spots and you'll always have biases. And I think even recently, because I started working with should we shout him out?
Dan_Heart performance.
Big Dan C. um, I was I was self coaching like for the past year or two, which was good because again I learned a lot of stuff, but I definitely had blind spots. What I thought needed work and everything potentially wasn't, and sometimes I would stay more into what I was better at because we like doing the stuff that we're good at and we avoid the stuff that we're really shit at. Whereas if you have someone kind of taking the reins for you, one, it's another set of eyes. So they can, if you miss something because you've biased or blind, blinkered or whatever, they can do that. But also, it's kind of like if he says do some split squats because that's going to help your back because of this, this, and this. Even though, like a lot of us don't like split squats. Because you've got him in your corner. You kind of held accountable to do it. So I think that's a big thing is having someone that knows more than you. Having a program and guiding you would definitely be would be the number one thing. In terms of the point about I wouldn't change some stuff because of the mistakes that I made and I learned from that. I think that was kind of invaluable. But I suppose that's because I'm more into the coaching side of stuff. So knowing I like the whole mad scientist stuff of like trialing something, see if it does or doesn't work, because then I know for myself and clients,
Mhm.
does this or doesn't it work? And also when we're talking about like one of the biggest things I think for beginners as well to learn is I hate RPE, but I'm going to say RPE, the perceived exertion, like how hard you're working. Because a lot of people will think they're working at a 10 and their 10 is a 5. And doing some of those like stupid, crazy workouts where I was doing like an hour of squatting or going to the gym after mates doing 2 hours of deadlifting. It's like you can get away with it when you're just starting off because the weights you're lifting are relatively small. So you can kind of like kill yourself on one lift and it doesn't really do anything. But pushing a squat to the point where I was like thinking I was going to throw up out my nose and I had a headache, kind of teach you go, oh shit, I know what a 10 is now. So like when I'm going to do some other training and someone says, oh, we want you at this percent or, do it, keep it a 7 or an 8 out of 10, you actually know what that is because of the crazy shit I did when I was a bit younger.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that you should do all that crazy shit. Do as I
You
say.
can learn from us.
You
You
can
don't
learn from
have to
us
do
because
that.
I fucked up, so you don't have to. I'll get that on a t-shirt.
Hashtag no regrets.
Yeah, all the
Okay.
cringy shit.
Off the back of that then, because I know a lot of people like getting a coach is such a generic answer, I think, for no, for coaches to say because you're like, oh yeah, of course you'll say that you're a coach.
Plug.
Okay. It's not a plug.
No, it's not.
It's purely because we wouldn't be doing what we did if we didn't value what we do, right? So I think that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. If we didn't believe in coaching, then we wouldn't be
I
doing what we
wouldn't
do.
coach.
Like we wouldn't
Yeah.
expect people to pay for our services if we didn't think it was going to offer you something.
True.
Um, However, we are very aware that we're in a very I want to say saturated, but I'm kind of coming.
Saturated with idiots, am I
No,
right?
well, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's a
Just say it.
saturated industry,
This is
but there are
bitching. This is barbells, burgers, and bitching. This is no holds barred. Say what the fuck you want to
That's
say.
so true. Let me take
Yeah.
that back. They're all shit. No, joking. No, there are some fantastic coaches out there.
100.
And I'm sure we could recommend just off the top of our head, like at least probably a dozen. However,
Dan.
there are. Yeah, I mean, we should probably pick up our own coach, but like there are a fair number of not so great coaches or people that maybe sell themselves as a coach or offer a service that they're not quite either prepared to do or experienced to do. And I know you've had an experience with a coach like that in the past, which is what led to your injury.
1.5, 2.
So, how would you advise someone on how to pick that coach if they're in a position where they can invest in a coach? Because obviously that's not for everyone as well, and that's something else we can touch on later.
Yeah. So I think, like you've said, we're in an industry where there's like it's a saturated market, and there are a lot of good people out there. There's the shit ones, but we're not going to focus on the shit ones. We'll talk about just the good ones. So how I train, or the method that I like training, is different to how Hannah likes training. I think I don't see how you do.
So different.
Yeah, so I'm a big conjugate boy, and we might do an episode where we go into like periodization models. But basically, this is going to be nerdy and probably go over some people's heads. But context: there's 4 ways to program: linear, block, undulating, conjugate. You have to base a program off one of those 4 approaches, right? And there's many ways to skin a cat, but all 4 work. I mean, I'm biased and will say the one I like is better than the other 3 for X, Y, and Z. But um, like conjugate is my bias. That's the way I like training. That's the way I like setting stuff up. So you're going to get coaches that are very. You're going to get some that kind of do a bit of everything, but then you'll get some coaches that are leaning into a certain bias, right? So it might be that you like a linear approach, or you like this approach, like that approach. Go and find a coach that's very good in that approach. You know, if you like training that way, find someone that trains that. So that already knocks some of the stuff. What do I want to say? I can't say it. I'm trying to think of the word.
Like the resistance.
No, but it kind of that's one thing that helps knock some of the coaches out. So it's leaving you with
Ah,
with less,
okay.
you know. So
It helps you. It's a filter.
it's like what do you call it? What's the game with the where you're trying to guess who's got
It's a
the
filter.
yeah
Filter.
yeah that's the one. It's a filter. I was trying to think of the game. It was a guess who when you're saying like oh they got a mustache on and you knock it down. That's my analogy I was trying to make.
You just.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that too. I like that.
I think another big thing. So it's like when I'm looking at someone. If I was gonna look at a coach, so when I was looking, for Dan, it's is he practicing what he preaches and is he fairly strong himself? Yes, tick. If I look on his page, has he got clients that have coached to a high standard? Tick. But also on a personal level, I've got a similar personality. We click, like we get on well. We've got similar interests, all that kind of stuff. So on one level, on the surface level, like does he practice what he preaches, and does he have client success? Tick. But also on that deeper level of I get on with them as a person. And I think before I've had coaches where, especially when I first had this injury, I got hurt, and sometimes what I said wasn't always taken into account. So I'd be like, "Oh, I'm in pain here," and they were like, "Oh yeah, just do this thing," and it's like, "No, dude, I'm fucked." And like, I like to think I'm one of those people. That, again, there's 2 kinds, isn't there? There's people you have to encourage, and there's people you have to hold back. I definitely think I'm someone that has to hold back because I will go until the wheels fall off, and that's kind of a bad thing. And I'm trying to like rewire my brain to do. But with Dan as the example, every single time I've expressed concern, he has listened to it and we've pivoted and we've done something. And I like to think I'm that coach as well. If one of my clients says we've done this exercise, there's a bit of a tweak, niggle, whatever, we go okay, cool. Let's adapt it. Let's regress something and let's change some things. And I think that's really good as having a coach that knows how to has people skills. Basically, knows how to work with people. Um, yeah, that's a very long-winded way of answering that. Was that satisfactory?
Yeah, no, I think that's it's fair because as you say, like there's gonna be lots of coaches that can get you from A to B, and there'll be lots of coaches that are very well equipped, very well experienced. They'll have, their social proofs, like, they'll have their people that they've proven to do what they say they're gonna do, but ultimately it very much comes down to like, do their values align with yours? Do you get on with them as a person? Because coaching is quite it's a very personal thing. Um,
Yeah.
Dependent on the level of service you're getting, it can be quite like you need to be open about your lifestyle because it's not just about what you're doing in the gym. All of the externals affect it too. So you want to be making sure that you're getting on with that person. But even if you can't have a coach, I think having someone to keep you accountable
Yeah.
and that you can lean on for that sort of thing is such a game changer. Whether it's just a gym bro, another mate in the gym that you may like, literally, it can be someone else who you either train with, even if it's like a family or a friend. Because I know there'll be some people listening to this and like, I don't really know anyone that's into the gym and I really want to get into it. Should that stop me? Obviously, absolutely not. I mean, if you're listening to this, chances are you're in the social media world. Like, reach out to someone. Like, you can reach out to us. We are always
We're
open.
here.
DMs are always open. We're always open to conversation. Throw questions to people who have been where you are. Like, if they look like they've done what you want to do, or they're along the lines of what you want to do, or even if they're just into the gym and you think, oh, I could get along with them, don't hesitate to ask, because people, especially gym people, we we're I don't want to, is blankets take no I was gonna say
What were you gonna say?
we're a
I'll
very
correct you.
friendly we're a friendly bunch because we've been where new starters are. So like you find the majority of people who have gone on some sort of health and fitness journey will always sympathize for newbies because we're like, oh yeah, we would have loved that help if we were in the beginning. So like we relate to it. And I think a lot of newbies hesitate to reach out for that help because they think, oh, this is embarrassing, this is intimidating, like should I already know this? Or and it's so easy to get in your own head about it. But in reality, if someone come up to me in the gym and was like, "How do I use this piece of kit?" I wouldn't think twice about helping them. There was no thought that would cross my mind thinking like, "Oh, what do you mean you don't know how to use that piece of kit?" Or like, "Oh, for God's sake, what a pain!" Like, no, that just it doesn't. And if they do think that, then that's just them as a
I
shitty
think,
person.
like anything though, there's always going to be the 1% that ruin it for the
Yeah,
99. You're always going to, whatever space you're in, you're always going to get a dickhead that makes, like, that could take your experience. But like Anna was saying, like 99% of gym people, gym
yeah,
goers, are absolutely love. I mean, the last meet we went to, well, my meet in August,
yeah.
um, my mum came, and that's not
Big
her,
fan.
and that's not Anne's kind of environment at all. But like one of the things we say is like,
She
there's
loved it.
well, she did love it, yeah. But it was one of those things where what you notice is you're surrounded in rooms with tattooed, bearded, 6-foot fucking monsters, but they're the nicest people ever. Like in the warm up rooms, they're sound. It's like
Yeah.
as we were chilling, there's just a bunch of us, weren't we? Like her included, just chatting and shit. And it's just
Mhm.
like,
Very inclusive.
so you look at them and you think, oh, Jesus Christ, tattooed guy with beards, and he looks like he's going to murder you. But
Mhm.
actually, those people are generally the nicest people I've ever met, and would do it. Like even when went up to that gym in Blackpool the other week, Stan's thing. There was a guy I'd never seen before, and he came up, he saw one of my tattoos, and was like, "Oh, I've got one of those." And he's like a 6'4"
Oh, and
body.
tough.
Yeah, he was
Mm.
like a 6'4" bearded tattooed dude. And I was like, "Yeah, I've got the same thing, thanks, dude."
Matchy matchy.
But he just came up like he was like on the surface, you'd think, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
oh no, not today, dude." But no, yeah, don't, because again, we've been where you've been,
Mhm.
so like we get it. We get how like daunting and a bit like scary it can be, but it's not like, ask if you're ever unsure. Ask. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. And like you say, we're always here to bounce ideas off. Send us a message if you're unsure about how to use a bit of kit. If you're writing your own program and you want us to have a look over it, anything, like, we're here for that.
Yeah, and I always say to my clients, I don't know about you, but if they're ever in an environment, because obviously I work online, so if they ever have questions, whether in the gym setting or if they're in somewhere where they're like, I don't know what to do, like, am I going to get in touch with Hannah ASAP? If they're not, I'm always like, and they're like, oh, I don't want to look like an idiot asking, or if I feel like whatever asking. And I'm like, you look more like an idiot if you're trying to use a piece of kit wrong or unsafely. Unsafely? Is that even a word? That doesn't sound right.
Roll with it. We've created. If
Unsafely?
unsafely isn't a word, it is
That
now.
doesn't sound right.
Deal with it.
But if you're going to be putting yourself or potentially others at risk because you don't know how to use certain kit, you're going to look more like an idiot there than you are if you like, oh hey, I've actually never done this exercise before, or I'm training for something different, or
For
I'm
sure.
just getting into the gym. Could you just quickly show me, or have you got any tips on how to use this? I just want to make sure I get it right, both for you and others. No one is ever going to think what a knobhead for asking that sort of question. And if anything, you think, yeah, good on you for like making an effort to actually make sure you get that right. So yeah, never worry about asking for help because I think that is definitely probably like a stigmatized thing that needs to get in the bin. Anyway, moving on.
No, actually, is there anything you want to add about the training side of stuff that we just covered? Because I spoke a lot. Anything that you want to add?
Well, I could go through all those questions again from my take if you want.
It's up to you. Because or we could do
Yeah,
nutrition for you.
well, I can talk about training and nutrition because I took both of those seriously when I started.
Again, shaming me for
Joking.
all this stuff.
I'm kidding. No, the only reason I make jokes about this, just for clarity, is not because I hate Alex. It's just because when I met him, I was shocked at how strong and jacked he was and gave so little regard to his nutrition. And I was like, obviously, like, for those who might just be listening to this episode and don't know me, nutrition is like my bread and butter. That's the bit like I'm really passionate about, really big on. I should hope so being a nutritionist, but
Yeah.
I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, imagine the potential that this guy has got to achieve if he just dialed in, like, even for his fucking protein intake. Like, if we just dialed down on the basics,
Got 2 words for
like,
you: autism and genetics.
that's
That's
how he did it.
that's the cheat code: autism and genetics.
It's not. Don't be.
No, if you eat like shit, sort your shit out. Because in the short space of time that we've made tweaks to my diet, I have noticed a huge difference.
um,
So
yeah.
diet, take it
It
seriously.
does matter.
Especially if you're in strength sports, where the stereotype is just to be a big, fat, shit slob.
Oh, that's definitely a conversation for another podcast, I
Okay,
think.
we'll save that for another podcast, but
But
just to
yeah,
touch on it very lightly,
nutrition matters.
there's certain stereotypes in sports. Bodybuilders are the you know, shredded, you could grate cheese on their abs type, and then like powerlifters get the whole stereotype of being fat pieces of shit that take 10 minutes in between sets. Just because, don't follow that stereotype. Proper nutrition makes all the
Absolutely.
difference.
You can have both.
You can have
And
both.
that's definitely something we're going to touch on later.
100%. Yeah, we need to do that.
Well, yeah, I guess I can run from the top. What first got me into training in nutrition? Because mine was my whole experience. Can you see where I'm looking on the notes
What?
here?
What about, yeah? What about it?
Yeah, shall I run through all those questions from our
Yeah, I think
perspective?
so. I've had the mic for a decent chunk. You go for it. But then obviously you can offer
Oh,
more.
you can officially ask me the question then, so I'm in that.
But then also
now.
you can give more into the nutrition side because I was.
Yeah, I will.
So Hannah,
Hi.
are you ready?
Yeah.
What got you into training and nutrition? Go.
Okay. I've always been active. Like, I've always enjoyed PE, sports, that kind of thing. Definitely did a million and one hobbies when I was younger. So that has never been foreign to me. He's just hit his elbow on the table. What got me into the gym? Honestly, I think it's very much the cliche. Actually, no. I stopped doing all those different sports when I was younger, when it sort of came to my GCSE time and exam periods. So I really held back on the extracurricular stuff because I was dedicating all my time to studying. I then got very conscious that I needed to still be active if I was going to eat like I was super active. So I was like, your goal is not sacrificing that life. So I'm going to get into the gym. And did very much winging it, very much scrolling through my favorite influencers on Instagram and trying to find some workouts that seemed relatively straightforward. And I did that along with, I still did things like netball or like, did I still play badminton at that point? I don't know. I was still active on the side, but just not as much as I was. Doing that all through like my A-levels and everything and through uni. And it was only when I was in my second year of university, I was like, I spend so much time, energy, effort, and even money on the gym and supplements and all of that sort of thing. I was like, I've actually got no real clue if I'm doing the right thing. And yeah, I was maintaining like somewhat of a physique, but it wasn't really like mega. And it was all very much focused around staying small or like trying to become lean. And in my head, I was like, yeah, I'd like to be strong, but the primary focus was always like lose more fat. Even though looking back, I didn't actually always have that much fat to lose. Again, probably a conversation for a different day. So that's probably what got me into it, was just wanting to stay active and for body image purposes.
Thank you. That was very insightful. Next one. What mistakes did you make early on?
Okay, so mistakes.
Yeah.
I would definitely say from a training perspective, mistake. I think, yeah, I was going to say just kind of winging it with random workouts, going in and just thinking I had to hit something for legs, had to hit something for upper body, had to hit something for glutes. And there was no real measure of progressive overload other than just chasing load, because that is not always the way. I understood like, yeah, try and get more reps or whatever, but it wasn't really monitored. I didn't always write things down. There was no structured programming around it. And sometimes it would be very much like, oh, I'm going into the gym today. What do I want to feel more toned? That was a mistake.
We hate that word.
We do hate that word. Nutrition wise, one of the biggest mistakes I made was trying to chase eating as little as possible all the time. So again, that definitely came from the body image side of things and trying to become leaner. And I never took into account things like performance nutrition or things like, making sure you were periodizing your nutrition. So not always chasing a deficit. You have to periodize that. You're not supposed to be on a diet forever, younger Hannah. And you do need to have periods of time where you're at least eating at a maintenance level, which back then I didn't even know what that was. To be building some tissue, to be getting toned. Like, you can't achieve that when you're permanently under eating. So that's probably the two main mistakes I made.
What would you tell your past self now?
Don't compare yourself to the influencer culture online. I think that goes for everyone. That's very
Oh,
cliche.
preach it,
It
sister.
is cliche, but genuinely, because we can get so sucked into this comparison trap of looking at other people online and then following these workouts. And 9 times out of 10, these influencers don't even follow these workouts. They just do it because it looks pretty. They've got no way of progressively overloading it, hence why they don't show you the full program. They just show you one workout. That's going to be no use to you. Plus, their goals or things they need to address on like their weaknesses won't necessarily be the same as yours. So, their program isn't going to be applicable to you. So just copying them, it might be a great way to just get you into the gym to begin with, but don't stick at that forever if you want to make any sort of real progress. And from a nutrition perspective, I would say just dive straight in, figure out what your maintenance level is, and start there. Don't be chasing deficits. Don't be chasing even building phases. Just focus on making small, positive changes within your diet, cruising around a maintenance phase, and just building the habits before you think about jumping to a diet or to like a building phase or anything like that. Just nail the basics.
Awesome. I think that's all bases covered.
I think so.
So we're going to go mistakes. I mean, we've
Oh,
covered a
okay.
lot of
We
mistakes
have.
and misconceptions, but we could do like a brief summary.
Yeah, we had a few notes down of common mistakes and misconceptions that we think people make.
I think what you touched, did you touch on it where you said like the perfect?
Perfect plan.
Yeah. Did you touch on that? Or say in the
I
episode?
don't really think there is such thing as a perfect plan, to be honest. Or I think at least what people think is perfect is probably not as complicated as you may think.
I think especially when you're a beginner as well, it is that, and I think with how fitness, Instagram and TikTok is pivoting as well, there's been a massive shift recently into like the science evidence-based
Oh my
crowd.
gosh, yeah.
So there's a lot of emphasis on
Optimization.
being
Fuck being
optimal.
optimal. Optimal's not
Well,
even a thing. No, it's not.
no, it's not. But there is general rules for doing things. But then these fuckers take it to the
Okay, yeah. So there's studies that prove like doing things certain ways will get you better results for sure.
well, it's the fundamentals that have been around for like 100 years haven't changed. Whereas these
Yeah.
fuckers trying to reinvent the wheel.
Mhm.
And then there's all stuff like with studies as well. It's like how can like a lot of these studies are done on untrained populations. So basically, what that means is that they'll take 10 people and they'll be like, oh, some people did squats and some people did leg extensions, and then they'll be like, oh, leg extensions are the best thing for your quads. It's like, dude, these people are so fucking sedentary. They could walk upstairs and their quads will get bigger. They're not accurate of a fucking of the population, you morons. And then they take that and it's gospel. So I think with how everything's gone at the minute, there's a massive shift on everything has to be perfect, everything has to be optimal, everything has to be this, everything has to be so fucking like perfect. So a lot of people now have got paralysis from it. So like,
Mhm.
oh, what do I do? Where do I start? For chest, the people say barbell bench isn't good. You have to do a one-armed cable fucking
Yeah.
strapped down to a bench press, and it's like, dude, no. You don't have to be that fucking dialed in with it. It's
Yeah, and I think the rage comes from the
sorry, I
context
do
of
get passionate.
No, but it comes from the context of this episode because we very much work with people who are trying to get started with their health and fitness journey. So when we see them having this worry that like, oh, this person said that or that person said this is better, why do I do this or should this be? Like you're overthinking the things that really don't matter at this point. Like you want to, when you get onto maybe if you're looking to step on stage, if you're a bodybuilder, or if you're looking to take the platform as a competitive like powerlifting athlete, or if you're looking to run marathons or things like that, where you are obviously taking it up a notch. That is when you want to start dialing in the more optimal ways of programming.
But even then, it's not like so many people miss the low hanging fruit, right? They want to be doing the perfect shit. Like when you're trying to go and be Mr. Olympia, or you're trying to break records on a powerlifting stage, maybe then doing certain specific exercises are what you need to do, right? So many people don't eat right, don't sleep well,
Oh,
aren't
exactly.
hydrated.
Yeah.
It's like focus on doing these fucking things right
Yeah.
first, and then in 10 years' time, worry about that stuff higher up the tree. So many people miss the low hanging fruit.
No,
You
exactly.
go, are you getting 8 hours of sleep? No, I'm getting 4. Well, fuck me. That's why you're not getting anywhere then.
Well,
What's your
exactly.
diet like? You're trying to get bigger? Yeah, I'm eating 1,000 calories. Well, there's your mistake. It's like, dude, Jesus Christ.
That's
You're
what I
focusing
mean,
on the
though.
wrong shit.
Yeah, they're focusing on their training plan being optimal when it's really actually if you had a more basic training plan that you enjoyed and it did what it needed to do, but then you also focused on your nutrition and you also focused on getting good quality sleep, that average training plan is going to take you miles further than the optimal one would if you're sandbagging your nutrition and your recovery. So that's the point we want to make on
But
that.
like you said with optimal, it doesn't really mean anything. One of the examples I used to give when I was like working in leisure centres, so a lot of it was like Gen Pop, was that in theory we could both write you the most perfect plan ever, and it would have all the optimal exercises on. If you hated every single thing on that and you didn't do it, is it the best plan ever? No, it's
Mm.
shit, right? One of the biggest things for beginners is getting consistency under your belt and making it a habit, right? And it's not going to be consistent or a habit if you hate every single thing on that plan. There are so many ways to train your chest. There are so many exercises to train your quads, hamstrings, lats, whatever it is, right? When you're starting out, make it fun. Make
Mhm.
it something enjoyable. Make it something you actually go, oh, I'm going to the gym today. I want to go to the gym. I'm looking forward to it. When you've then got 6 months, a year, 2 years under your belt, maybe 2 years is a bit far, but 6 months to a year under your belt, then you can start thinking about, right, this is something I'm taking seriously. This is something I want to push, whether it's bodybuilding, CrossFit, athletics,
Yeah.
powerlifting, whatever. And then go and find a plan or a coach that can then point you in the right direction. So then you're getting more dialed in on that thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like our powerlifting journeys. Like before I got a coach, I was just focusing on building a base. Like it was only when I wanted to specifically get strong in specific exercises that it was like, right, now's time for a coach because we're taking it a little bit more specific with that. And I want this extra pair of eyes to teach me, the ways. But when you're getting started, you don't need to be worrying about that sort of stuff. Just focus on building a base, follow the basics, and cover those low hanging fruits, as we said, consistently. Another point on that, which we've noted down that I wanted to talk on, is advanced training splits. And if you are there, you're thinking, I really want to get jacked, or I really want to get strong, I want to be toned, I'm going to do an arm day, I'm going to do a calf day, or I'm going to do like the way you're splitting your training, you've got no business being that niche when you've got big muscles you need to be covering. So you don't even need to be having a dedicated arm day just in the beginning. You can be having upper lower, or you can be doing 3 full body days, and you are going to cover the basics much more consistently than you are if you're trying to train like 6 days a week and have specific muscle group days. It's not necessarily wrong, but I think I don't know what you think of this, but like when you're getting started, you need to be focused on increasing your skill set, your frequency, your consistency. And there's no point jumping straight into a 6-week split from the beginning, because chances are if you've not been going to the gym at all before that, that's going to be really overwhelming. And are you going to stick to that consistently? In my experience, no.
Yeah, I think again, if we're looking at low hanging fruit, and I'm going to say that phrase so many times for the rest of the podcast now because I've said it once, but progressively overloading compound lifts is where you're going to be getting a lot of your money from, especially early on. Squats work multiple things, deadlifts work multiple things, overhead pressing works multiple things, benching works multiple things. And with all of this stuff, success leaves clues, right? How many people do you see that eventually over time have worked up to have a decent bench that have a small upper body? They don't. How many people do you see that can do dips and pull-ups for reps or weighted that have, small upper bodies? They don't. Same with deadlifts and squats for lower body. These success leaves clues, right? Like Hannah's saying, arms are a relatively small muscle, like biceps, triceps are relatively small compared to the rest of you. How the fuck are you dedicating one training session that could be like 45 minutes to an hour plus on fucking biceps and triceps? It's absolutely insane. Like, if you want to do it, like you're saying, there's something better like an upper lower. You can chuck some arm supersets at the end of an upper body day, but the priority should be: are we hitting the bigger muscle groups like chest, back? I know shoulders is relatively small, but overhead presses is going to be a good one for that. That also works your
Which
tris.
will all involve biceps and triceps along the way. Like, you don't always just have to be so isolating with the exercise choices. I know you can get like juicy pumps from it and it
But I
can
do
lend
think I
itself.
do think you need to be doing like
No,
it
yeah,
is
but I'm
good for
saying
your arm and
like,
stuff in isolation, but it does that's not the bulk of your session. That is
no,
not your
exactly.
workout.
Yeah.
That is okay. Have we ticked the boxes
It's
for
like
the
fluff
big?
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You do your meat and potatoes at the beginning again, and then you do your fluff stuff at the end, right?
Your salt and pepper.
Yeah, but that comes down to actually, like, again, if we're going to touch on a bit, I suppose, because it's helping beginners in terms of like a training plan as well. When you're structuring it, you want to make sure the most demanding stuff is at the beginning, least demanding stuff at the end, right? So if we're going through like a leg day, for example, a lower body session, Your heavy compounds like your squats and deadlifts are going to be at the beginning because they take the most out of you. They're the most demanding. They're using multiple joints, multiple muscle groups, right? And then at the back end, that's when you're going to be doing your stuff like your single joints, like your leg extensions and your leg curls. Because compared to a squat and a deadlift, they don't take that much out of you.
Mhm.
You can go, you could do a set to failure on leg extensions, and after 3 minutes rest, you're fine. Do the same thing on squats. I guarantee it's a very different story.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's when it comes to like understanding and appreciating where your energy is going to be best spent. Because it's like, yes, if you have no job, no, school to attend or anything like that, and you have all the time in the world to be training, then yeah, maybe you're going to have time to be dedicating a full 45-minute, 60-minute session to your arms. But realistically, for most people, that is not the case. Most people tend to have maybe 3, 4, 5, if they're lucky, days to train in the gym and get the most out of that. And you want to be getting most bang for your buck. So this is why we keep, repeating that phrase, low hanging fruits, because that is something that is so overlooked nowadays that people just aren't giving enough credit to. And it's holding like it's leaving loads of gains on the table essentially. So yeah, keep things nice and simple, keep things repetitive, keep things,
The unsexy
basic.
thing about getting bigger and stronger and fitter is that the program, in the grand scheme of things, should be boring. In
I don't
terms,
think it should be
no, but I
boring.
mean it boring in the sense of like the same exercise is going to be in for potentially 6 weeks. It's not. You're not rotating stuff in and out that frequently. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like when like Anna was saying earlier about the influencers, where it's like do these workouts and it's like
Curtsy
it's
lunges.
eye catching stuff. It's stuff that looks appealing. It's stuff that looks sexy. It's stuff that's going to grab your attention. Whereas the reality is the fundamentals have worked and have worked for a long time. And the reason they haven't changed is because they fucking work, right? Like the main thing of doing it is you keep an exercise in a program for as long as you can until you've milked it for all it's worth, and then you sub it out for something that works, the same muscle group or the same movement pattern, and then you rinse and repeat. You shouldn't be changing shit every week. You're going to make
Mhm.
no progress. You don't give yourself enough time to learn the skill of the exercise, and then once you learn that skill, obviously then you want to use it for all it's worth to get the maximum amount you can out of it. I think one of the common things you see with beginners as well is a lot of program hopping.
Mhm.
So you see that as well, where it's they've seen Sebum do his split, and then it's like, oh cool, but then I've seen the latest Mr. Olympia do his thing, so I want to do that thing, and then I've seen a powerlifter do that, and then so you end up hopping all over the fucking shop and not giving the one thing enough chance to get all the benefits out of that. And that's not to say like over time that you might like one approach and then in 2 years' time that approach changes. But at least you've given it a year or two's worth of sticking with it, using for all it's worth and seeing what it's like before you move on to the next one. That's what I mean in terms of boring. It's not that
Mm.
eye-catching, flashy shit that gets you on Instagram and TikTok. It's relatively simple. I like to say to people, keep it so simple that a monkey could follow it. Like,
Yeah.
that does multiple things as well. It allows you to properly track progress.
Mhm.
If we're getting specific into, like, strength training, if you know that one exercise improves your bench press, so say, like, close grip bench improves your weakness, well, you're only ever gonna know that if you keep close grip bench in for 6 weeks, it goes up, and then when you retest your bench, you go, "Oh, shit, that goes up." So you know, "Oh, cool, close grip goes up." If you're constantly changing the exercise every week, how the fuck do you know what works? You're
Mhm.
not gonna know what works.
Exactly. I think we've probably spoken enough about
Yeah.
the next point really covers nutrition, so I think I want to dabble on that a little
Take it
bit
away.
more, which is so this is probably the last bit we'll say about misconceptions and common mistakes, but
Have we covered everything?
well, no, I'm just gonna touch on the part where I kinda mentioned it before, but, like, overtraining, undereating, solely focusing on aesthetics, and also expecting progress in a very short period of time are all major things that are going to massively trip you up, and I say this is more related to nutrition because people overlook nutrition when they're getting started with their health and fitness, and they think either it's just all about calories or it's just all about protein. And yes, whilst they're two very important things that I would encourage you to take, be aware of in the beginning, it's not the be all and end all. And it's also a lot of information to take on board with all of that stuff we've just discussed with the training and programming side of things. It can become quite overwhelming and you can easily not stick to when it becomes a lot. Now, the reason I say this is because training, once you've got that knuckled down and you've found a plan that's working for you and you're happy with that, that actually becomes a tiny drop in the ocean. The difficult stuff to get these results that you're looking for comes from the nutrition, the lifestyle habits, the sleep, the recovery, where you're spending the rest of your, 23 hours in the day. So you've got that 1 hour in the gym, let's say, and then the rest of it, that's where your progress is also made. And that's obviously a lot harder to manage because there's a lot more room for error there. So when you're focusing on those things, again, keep it stupid simple. There's a phrase that trainers will use in the industry and it's called KISS, and that's what it stands for. Keep it stupid simple. So as Alex said, keep it so simple what a monkey could follow
A
it.
monkey can follow it.
Yeah. Use that, use and abuse it, and just think if I can stick to this, then you're winning. So when it comes to starting to pay attention to your diet, again, don't be jumping into a fat loss phase if you haven't even understood the basics of what your body needs just to maintain where it's at. Because only when you've, solidified those habits, whether that comes from an energy balance standpoint, how many calories you're needing to feel good in your training, to be able to get through your working day, to be able to, have a solid digestion, to be going to the toilet regularly, to be making sure that you're not flagging or having massive energy crashes at any point. Once you've nailed that, that's when you can then adjust your targets and think, okay, how much do I then need to be eating if I want to be losing weight? How much do I need to be eating if I want to be gaining weight? Then when you're looking at your macro balance, again, that's going to be very personal, but making sure that you are eating enough of all the right macros for you and your goals is going to be super important. There is no such thing as needing to cut out any of them. If you hear anyone preach low carb, tell them to get in the fucking bin. If you preach anyone telling you to strip your fats, tell them to get in the fucking bin. If you're telling anyone that you need excessive amounts of protein, tell them to get in the fucking bin, because people will make out like protein needs to be put on this pedestal. And it is absolutely important. Do not get me wrong. It, gets massive bang for your buck. It will massively help you from a body composition standpoint, massively helps you from a recovery standpoint. It massively helps you from an overall health, cognitive health, women's health standpoint. It's very important. And most people do undereat it before they get started, on their health and fitness journey. But then again, don't lean into that narrative where people are always like, smash all the protein bars, smash all the protein shakes, smash all the protein pancakes and the protein yogurts and everything you see on the supermarkets will be branded with protein, and people can just go so hellbent on all of this stuff that they lose sight of the other things as well, or they don't give recognition to things like your healthy fats, to your fiber, to your carbs, to your veggies. Look at it from a much more, I hate using this word as well, but like a holistic approach. And I hate using it because it sounds so wishy-washy. And people associate holistic with being like, oh, this like, yeah, we love matches and fucking reformer Pilates. And sorry to anyone who likes that. But it's just a stereotype I see. Make sure you're giving credit to it all, because if you are underfueling, your training is not going to progress and you are going to burn out. You won't stick to it consistently. And if you're only solely focused on aesthetics, and you're not nailing your nutrition, and then you're subsequently then not nailing your training, that is going to get you into a very toxic cycle of not wanting to focus on your health and fitness because you're not seeing the results, you're not enjoying the process, you feel like shit, you're training like shit, and you can see how that then spirals. I think I just need to get off out of my chest.
Breathe.
Moving on.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good, I think.
So I think after all that, we will kind of just briefly summarize things for you guys, obviously
Yeah, because we've
specifically
nearly been
beginners.
talking for an hour now. Wow.
It's so easy when you're having fun, isn't it? Time flies. Look at us. So yeah, I think big takeaways are probably going to be, in terms of training when you're a beginner getting into it, consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Find something that you enjoy doing, and that matters a lot more than hyper focusing on all the optimal shit, what you think is, the best split, all this kind of shit. Just obviously follow some structure, because the structure is important, but consistency is going to be the biggest thing, right? That trumps a lot of stuff. Like we said as well, the whole low-hanging fruit things. So make sure hydration, sleep, nutrition, all of those things are being, I don't know, I've had a mind blank, are being a priority.
Yeah.
Again, rather than hyper-focusing on the stuff like the most optimal training split or this, that, and the other. Those things, like Hannah said earlier, nailing those basic things, the sleep, the nutrition, the hydration.
You don't need to be stressing about things like supplements and, that sort of thing just yet.
Because what are supplements?
Just to supplement an already very dialed in diet.
You add them in when you've done all the other fucking stuff first. So sort your food out before you start cramming yourself full of pills and
It
shit.
also gets very expensive very quickly that way,
Mm,
and especially in this culture,
yeah,
that's not the word, especially in this climate,
that's the one.
economic climate, we're
Yeah,
not people just aren't wanting, nor do they need to do that. So, don't get sucked into thinking you have to in order to see progress, because that's not the case.
yeah.
Um,
And then I think the other thing we didn't actually mention, potentially setting yourself little goals to keep
yeah.
you motivated. So it could be that, when you're going in there initially, you haven't done a squat before. It might be that your goal is to just squat the bar. So you
Mhm.
start off with doing goblet squats or bodyweight squats, and that becomes a little goal.
Mhm.
And then when you hit that little goal of being able to do a back squat with a bar, you then start add weight. So you're just setting yourself, obviously, we all have overreaching goals of, I want to look like this, or I want this muscle to get better, or I want to be able to run a marathon in this or this. And those are the very like long term, further down. That's
Yeah,
like the 5 year, 10 year plan,
but
right? But we
break it
need to
down.
have something, little things every couple of months or every couple of training
A little
cycles. Yeah,
checkpoints,
yeah,
yeah,
just
to
to
keep
just be like, cool.
motivated.
So once you've hit your first barbell back squat, you take that off, and then the next thing might be that you want to hit 3 sets of 8 with 30, and that
Mhm.
becomes a little short term goal. And you just keep just little things, little markers to know that you're on the right way, and just keeps you excited for
Because
training.
because it'll get you to that end goal anyway,
Yeah,
but having those smaller checkpoints just keeps you motivated. Because if anyone says you don't need motivation, they're talking rubbish. If people are like, you shouldn't rely on motivation, you should rely on discipline. Punch them in the face,
but
because
also,
everybody needs motivation,
yeah,
but what you might be motivated for will be different to every person.
without getting very philosophical and very zen, but I think that whole thing of enjoying the journey.
Yeah, absolutely enjoy the journey.
So I think, like, even though as we compete in powerlift, I compete in powerlifting, so does Hannah, but Hannah does all the other crazy shit as well, running and throwing shit and conditioning shit and all that.
Throw shit. What
I
do I
don't know.
throw?
Do you do wall balls and shit? No, is that something else?
That's a
Uh,
High Rocks thing.
they're the same.
I don't do High Rocks.
Yeah,
I
same
don't.
thing.
No, we've literally had this discussion. Athletics and High Rocks are not the same thing.
They may as well be to me.
No, I'm specifically doing athletics because I don't want to be a High Rocks wanker.
I'm
No, I'm joking.
I'm
Nothing
CrossFit
wrong with
blind.
High Rocks.
Anyway,
It's not that either. I'm
it's the same
joking.
thing.
No offense to High Rocks. I will probably do one at once in my life at
But I
some
think
point. But yeah,
for
anyway.
I think a big thing as well is a lot of people get so focused on that end point, and it's like, as a powerlifter, when next time I go to bench, it's like, I want to fucking break records. I want to beat this.
Mhm.
I want to beat that. But sometimes you get so caught up in that end goal and that becomes, again, if that's for whatever reason that doesn't go your way, what are you going to do then? You're just going to crash out. Whereas actually, the training side, you should lean into enjoying that process, making
Yeah.
sure every time you're stepping in, you're making yourself a little bit better. Yes, sometimes a session might not go that right way, but you've turned up.
Mhm.
You've been in there when you weren't before, or say your main lift doesn't go well, but you PB all your accessories.
Yeah.
It's those little things. Learn to enjoy that process, so that when you hit that, when you do hit that overreaching goal, yeah, that's cool, but it's enjoying that process that leads up to that, which will help keep you in the game for a lot longer, because it's the
Absolutely.
whole intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
If all that you're motivated by is a shiny medal, you're probably not going to last very long. Learning to enjoying to do it for like that self gratification and enjoying that shit is going to take you a lot further. Zen moment out.
I'm laughing because I've just signed up to do a half marathon for the shiny medal. But yeah, absolutely don't be.
Yeah, but you do running because you like running.
Yes. No. Exactly.
The
Yeah.
medal is the
To all my runners out there, don't we do it for the medals?
but the half marathon, doing that half
I'm
marathon,
joking,
getting
yeah.
the medal is like the shiny thing at the end. It's the
Yeah.
nice thing to say, like, this is all the hard work I've put in for the 12 weeks. This is the reward for it. But the thing you have to enjoy is the 12 weeks that gets you there, right? Yeah.
I'm just laughing again because I've only got 4 weeks. But yeah, absolutely. For an honor.
Yeah, but you've been running, you've been doing conditioning and
It's
cardio
good, yeah,
shit
no,
for different aspects,
exactly.
so it's not
I've
like
just
it's not like
decided
you're
I'm
just
gonna
throwing
do it.
yourself in the fucking deep end. You've been doing it for God knows how long.
I've never done something like this as short notice. That's why I'm a bit nervous. But yeah, no, absolutely.
Hybrid athlete over.
But yeah, don't miss the magic in the moment, guys, by getting so caught up on the end goal. That's super, super important.
Especially with social media, it's very easy to be like, oh, look, I want to look exactly like them. I want to do it now. And it's actually,
Yeah, those people, chances are, like, these influencers are either genetically gifted, as we've said, or they have been doing it for years.
or they're on shitloads of gear.
Oh, yeah, all that. Yeah, chances are, if it looks too good to be true, you're not wrong for
If
thinking
it
it could
walks
be.
like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck.
Exactly.
Wah.
Is there anything else we'd noted down that we want? Oh, do we touch briefly? Okay,
We can go over an hour.
we can. To be fair, we're nearly done. I think this is the last
Yeah, we can
point
go over an hour. It's
that
fine.
Well, I just want to touch on the mindset side
You
of
did a
things.
bit, but we're reiterating.
Yeah.
We're coming back.
Because
We're
the
putting
mindset side is
time to put time in
important.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, we'll recap. So if you've been listening to this and you're thinking, okay, you've just given me a fuckload of information, can you please just summarize that and tell me what I need to go away and work on? We will also do that. So hang on, give me 5 more minutes, and we're going to tell you how not to get in your own head about this, because this is very much a mental game as it is physical, both from a nutrition and a training standpoint.
Yes.
So we've kind of already touched on the fear of judgment. That was
Yep.
something so many people struggle with, whether that be in the gym, whether that be telling your friends and family you're working towards a goal, and if they don't get it, it can be very awkward.
I don't think either of the people, like our parents, get it.
Absolutely not. No one in my family gets it.
Why would you want to lift the heavy
Yeah.
things? That's dangerous. You're not going to have a back when you're 60.
Oh, you're not going to look like a man by doing those power lifts, are you? Like, oh, you don't want to be eating that much food. You'll get too chunky.
It's not Hannah, it's Henry. It's not Hannah, it's Henry now. Yeah, she's touched the barbells, Henry.
I could go on a big fat tangent about the stereotypes around powerlifting or just lifting weights in general for women. Yeah, I've probably had it all.
You don't want to get too bulky.
No, I'm just gonna contain my rage because it really does trigger me. But yes, the people that get it, get it. In fact, no, what's the phrase I love to tell people? The people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind. Remember that and take that into every aspect of your life, because the people that judge you, the people that question you for what you're doing, the people that just make you feel meh about doing something good for yourself, their opinions don't matter and shouldn't matter.
It's fine. I don't get hobby horsing. I don't really,
Hobby horsey.
You're the people that, like, they ride the little horses on
I
sticks.
know what you're on about.
Yeah, there's some people that don't get powerlifting. I don't get hobby horsing.
I
But,
just love that
I
that's
don't have
the first thing that came to your
I'm just trying to think of something out there. I don't get it.
I could have
But that's fine.
you could have been like golf, chess, no hobby horsey.
Hobby horsing. I see that and I'm like, I don't get it. But you know what? I don't have to.
Good
They're
exactly.
having a great time.
But also, like, they don't have to get it to support you.
No,
So
no.
sometimes you can tell people that, like, hey, you don't have to understand me or agree with me. Just don't put me down.
Was the hay on still about the horses? I see what you did there. It's good.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
Yeah. So,
But anyway, off the back of that, people that matter don't mind. People that mind don't matter.
yeah.
Yeah. The people that opinions will help you in this journey will benefit you. So, listen to them, take it on board, and it will be a very good test of time to see who really is important and sticking around in your life when it comes to making these decisions for yourself. Comparison culture, we've kind of talked about that. That was another point we wanted to talk about.
Don't compare yourself. Focus on you.
It is, again,
it's your own
cliche.
journey.
It really
Takes
is you
as long as it
versus you.
takes.
Exactly. It takes a lot. Everyone's circumstances are different. Everyone's experiences are going to be different. Everyone's goals, their reasonings, their setbacks, everything like that is going to be different. So do not compare yourself to anyone. And it's so easy to do. And I definitely still do it. Do you still do it?
Do what?
Compare yourself to anyone?
I think it's a very human thing to do.
Yeah.
You just got to bring yourself back in and be like, you know what?
Yeah, just catch yourself doing
They're
it.
where they are. I am where I am, and all I
Congratulate
can do
them.
is make myself better day by day or session by session. That's all that fucking matters.
Exactly. So I think being aware of that is more important than anything.
Yeah.
Oh, the next one's a good one. The all or nothing mindset.
Yeah, bro.
I bang on about this to all of my clients because if any of them are listening to this right now, they'll be laughing because they're like, that was me. And I get it because it was also me. And I think that's probably why I attract them, because I very much have that all or nothing mentality when it comes to a lot of things. And it can be both a blessing and a curse. It can mean you do something really, really well because you literally give it your all, but it can also be a surefire way to burn yourself out very quickly because you have this. Typically, people with that all or nothing mentality also have that sort of perfectionist, high achiever, hard worker mentality where they're like, I have to do everything perfectly, or what's the point, or what if people judge me, or what if I fail? And that can get you into a very toxic mental cycle as well of not doing anything at all because you get stuck in that whole paralysis by analysis thing, which is what we touched on earlier as well.
Yes.
Anything to add on to that?
No, I think you summed that up pretty well. That's
okay.
Yeah.
I think the last one's actually the most important. I don't know if you have much to say on that one, but identity shift. I feel like I don't really hear anyone talk about this, to be honest. And when you're going on a health and fitness journey, you're going to go through all the motions. You're going to go through negative and positive feelings, and that is okay. I think one thing that can be really strange to get used to is recognizing that something's going to have to change in order to see change. And you are going to have to sacrifice your old life for your new one. And sometimes that can be a bit unsettling for people, especially if their old life isn't necessarily bad or isn't something they don't like. But it is obviously then going to entail change in order to make room for the new change. And again, that doesn't have to be a negative thing, but as humans, we could probably all agree that we love routine. We like, consistency. We like familiarity. We like things that are the same, and getting used to a different lifestyle, getting used to different, you know, friendship circles, getting used to different people's opinions, getting used to different habits that you're doing throughout your day, that can all be very unsettling. And it can almost be a little bit isolating in a way, especially if you don't have the people around you to support you, because you quite literally change entirely as a person. And from our experience, obviously for all the right reasons, but it can still be a bit unnerving. Um, so I think again, just being aware of that, but also recognizing that change isn't always a bad thing, and it's like embrace it by all means, because you're never going to do yourself worse by prioritizing your health and fitness. Um, yeah, just know that that feeling of change is okay, and you'll get the butterflies in your stomach. You might get the tightness across the chest, and there might be some days where you think, I'm putting in all of this work and people almost expect this of me now. They're associating me as the active person, or they're thinking I should go out to a restaurant and not order a side of chips. Like, it's not that deep. It does not have to be that deep. Like, you are so much more than what your health and fitness entails, but also it's okay if you want to lean into that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think some people can go, and it that kind of ties in with the all or nothing mentality, but they think like if they're doing the gym, then they have to do all of it,
People
and they have to be identified as that person. When no, you can be someone who
Yeah.
enjoys like cake on the weekend, and you still go and train like 4 or 5 times a week. You know?
I think that just comes out from a lot of people that aren't educated about it.
Yeah,
Like, I think they like, especially because I've got some of my clients that do nutrition with you,
yeah,
and some of them have had, like, you could tell they've had big mental blocks
mm.
with some kind of like some of their nutrition stuff. And you can see now, like, just actually that shift where they don't, the people don't realize that you can still lose weight, but eat good food and the food that you like. It doesn't just
Mhm.
have to be chicken and rice and salmon and rice and beef and rice or whatever. Whereas just like, what's the example with one of them? They had a pizza night, but
Yeah,
it was a healthier
yeah,
alternative of it. It was still like, it was still pizza. It was still good
yeah.
food. It's still like they enjoyed it. But so like, but there's going to be people out there that judge regardless because they don't understand, and don't let someone's like lack of knowledge on a subject deter you. Like, I remember going into gyms before, and from PTs, I'd be coaching someone. They were like, "You shouldn't arch your back on the bench press. That's dangerous." It's like, your spine naturally has a curve in it. It's not a fucking rod that goes straight up and down. And actually, if you set up in a bench press normally, like correctly, you should have a bit of an arch in your back. And that's not because you're excessively doing it. It's just because those positions, that's what's safer. And that was coming from a fucking PT. Like, there's going to be people out there that just don't understand
Yeah.
the stuff that you're doing or those changes you're making. That's okay. Just do what the penguins in Madagascar do.
Smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
um,
Right, we have been chin wagging for a long time, so we are
yeah.
now going to
Wrap it
summarize
up.
this shit for you, so that at the end of this nearly hour and 10 minutes,
You're gonna go away
with
and you're gonna completely change your
some
life.
little bite-sized nibbles,
Yeah.
so we can kind of summarize all this shit. So I think, as I said, position the mic so you can actually pick up my voice. So I think in terms of the training thing, make sure it's fun. Do something you're going to be able to do consistently. And in terms of what that actually looks like Hannah touched on, I think either doing something like an upper lower or a full body multiple times is going to be the best thing, because it allows you to hit multiple muscle groups multiple times per week. So you're hitting it with more frequency,
Mhm.
rather than doing the stereotypical gym bro thing, which is like legs on a Monday, back on a Tuesday, and you're only hitting like legs once. Whereas with an upper lower or a full body, you could be hitting it 2 to 3 times per, which is what like me and you do now. I do upper lower, and you do something kind of similar. So we're
Mine's
getting,
very different because it's a bit of a
but
hybrid.
you know
But
what I mean.
yeah,
But
yeah.
in terms of like, we're not just
Actually,
hitting,
mine's more full body.
yeah.
I pretty much do full
So
body.
we're not like hitting legs once a week.
Yeah.
It's 2 to 3 times. We're not just hitting arms once a week. It's 2 to 3 times, and I think having that frequency is obviously going to be more beneficial than just doing it once a week. Um, in terms of what we keep on saying, I'm going to say
What
the
did we
phrase
do?
again.
I feel like we should stick to like maybe 3 top points.
Yeah.
So,
First one is
but
that. Second one, I think, is the low hanging fruit. So prioritize the basics first and get really good at those. So your sleep, hydration, nutrition,
yeah,
and then the third point.
we haven't actually touched on this, but I think this is something that people don't. Again, I don't know. It sounds like stereotypical, like, oh, your step count or your cardio or your general low intensity
Yeah, yeah,
movement.
yeah.
And you said that so like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," don't care.
No. I was saying it's something. So again, it's your low hanging
It's a
fruit. It's one of
low-hanging
those.
fruit.
It's one of those basic things, but it's often overlooked. I was saying I don't know how we haven't hit that,
No,
but
but the reason I
good
say
remembering.
this is because,
I wasn't dismissing your
it
point.
step count
I
in
do care.
cardio. Um, so you've got your training, right? We've just boxed that off. Keep it simple, keep it, accessible and enjoyable. Your nutrition, focus on the basics, focus on hitting your maintenance targets. It doesn't even have to be something where you track your intake, that's always beneficial, but maybe just focus on visual improvements. So like adding a portion of protein in at each meal, looking for more color in your diet. So you've got the greens, you've got the oranges, the yellows, reds, purples. Have variety. That's going to be super beneficial for you. Um, you know, Focus on having meal frequency. So don't be skipping breakfast. Don't be skipping pre-workout food. Making sure that you're having regular feedings throughout the day. And then obviously making sure that you're getting enough water and sleep on the side. That's going to be another one. And the third one, because this goal is going to be essential, whether your goal is fat loss, whether it's to build muscle, whether it's to improve your relationship with food, getting some regular movement in throughout the day, whether that be through a step count or some low intensity cardio, is going to massively benefit you from so many different angles. From a digestion standpoint, if you're getting some walks in after your food, you're going to digest a whole lot better. If from a recovery standpoint, so if you're getting some low intensity cardio in, more steps throughout the day, you're going to be naturally increasing blood flow, you're going to be improving nutrient delivery around your body, you're going to be staying better hydrated, and you're just going to be, from a mindset perspective, you will feel so much better if you can get some movement in, whether that be from endorphins, whether that be some from fresh air, whether that be because you're going to just take some time out for yourself and listen to a podcast or go and talk with a friend or go and have a meeting, but walk instead of work. Um, Instead of just being sat on like a Teams video. I when I worked in corporate, they were doing that, so I feel like they definitely still are. But go and have a walking meeting, or meet up with a friend and say, "Can we go for a walk?" instead of just sitting on the sofa. It's a really straightforward way that's going to reap you so many benefits
Yeah,
for everything.
cool.
So yeah, I think that's it.
So I think as well, just before we go, I know a lot of the advice we've given has been very general. Like we haven't gone into here's a week one session one of the plan, and you should do this, because again, a lot of it is context dependent and a bit and subjective in terms of what you've got going on, how many times you can commit to, all that kind of shit. So if you want some like to go into the specifics, our DMs are open. You can DM
Yeah,
me, you can DM Hannah, or you can DM the actual
podcast.
podcast page on Instagram. So either one of us will see it.
What is it, at B3_podcast?
Yes, I believe so. But we'll
Plug. Yeah, we'll tag it in the description.
yeah. And then at some point in the future, we might actually do something where we say, right, how would we design a strength program? And we could go into like proper detail. But we wanted to make sure this one was just general, so we could cover a lot of topics rather than going, because in terms of setting up a program, we could talk about that for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's a thing in itself. So if you've heard all of this and you're like, cool, I've got the ideas, but I don't really know any of the specifics, drop us a message and we'll be able to help you with that.
Yeah. Um, and if you have any other ideas of topics or episodes that you would like us to cover, then again, don't hesitate to drop it in our DMs and we will make sure that we cover it ASAP
I think we'll
Rocky.
keep on putting Q&As up on the page on our Instagram as well, so you can
Yeah.
keep on firing. It gives you an opportunity to
Exactly.
keep on firing stuff in there as well.
But you can comment, you can like, you can share, you can follow. Hint, hint, don't forget to do any of that, please. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week for episode 2.
Yeah.
Over and out. Thank
Peace
you so
out.
much. Peace.
Peace.